Chapter 1. A Tuesday morning detour. Roger Mills had always believed life was a series of blueprints, clean lines, measured angles, predictable outcomes. At 34, divorced but not bitter, he had learned to roll with the punches. His mantra was simple: control what you can, let the rest go. It had served him well through college, marriage, and the quiet unraveling of that marriage 2 years later. This Tuesday morning was no different. The November air was sharp, carrying the scent of concrete dust and cold steel across the job site. Roger stood with his hands in his jacket pockets, surveying the skeletal frame of what would soon be a sleek office building. He liked this part, the bones of a structure before the skin went on. It was honest work, and he was good at it. Roger! The booming voice belonged to Harold, his boss, a man who looked like Santa Claus had gone undercover as a construction foreman. White beard, rosy cheeks, belly that shook when he laughed. Harold was the kind of man who made strangers feel like family in 5 minutes flat. Roger turned, grinning. "Morning, Harold. You're early." "Early? Son, I've been here since dawn. These beams don't set themselves." Harold clapped him on the shoulder. Then his phone buzzed. He glanced at the screen, and for a moment, his jovial expression faltered. Concern flickered across his face. Roger tilted his head. "Everything okay?" Harold answered the call, and Roger watched the transformation. Concern melted into pure joy, his grin widening until it could have rivaled a sunrise. "She's in labor?" Harold's laugh boomed across the site. "Well, I'll be damned. My first great-grandbaby." Roger chuckled as Harold paced like a man possessed, barking instructions to no one in particular. "Congratulations," Roger said when Harold finally hung up. "Thanks, son. Listen, I'm flying out today. Can't miss this moment." Harold's eyes sparkled. "You'll hold down the fort?" "Of course," Roger said easily. "Go. Enjoy your family." Harold looked relieved and proud. "That's why I trust you, Roger. Always reliable." He rattled off a quick rundown of schedules, deliveries, and safety checks. Roger nodded, committing it all to memory. Harold was halfway out the door when he stopped, smacked his forehead, and turned back with a mischievous glint in his eye. "Almost forgot. Don't forget the Civic Center." Roger frowned. "What Civic Center?" Harold's grin widened. "You're Santa now." Roger blinked. "I'm what?" "Santa Claus. The big guy in red. Ho 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 and all that." Harold clapped him on the back. "I've been the local Santa for years at the shelter's holiday event. Those kids count on it. Can't let them down." Roger held up his hands. "No, no, no. I'm not, Harold. I can't play Santa." "Sure you can." Harold's voice softened, but his eyes twinkled with steel. "Those kids need magic, Roger. You'll give it to them." Roger opened his mouth to argue, but Harold was already striding away, calling over his shoulder, "Practice your ho-ho-ho." Roger stared after him, muttering, "How hard can it be?" He was wrong. So very wrong. Chapter 2. Winter Wonderland Chaos. Friday arrived with a vengeance, and a blizzard of tinsel. The Civic Center had been transformed into a Christmas fever dream. Fake snow glittered under fluorescent lights. A gingerbread house stood proudly in the center, and real reindeer snorted in a pen outside. High school volunteers dressed as elves darted around like caffeinated squirrels, their jingling bells clashing with the relentless loop of Jingle Bell Rock. Roger adjusted the red suit for the 10th time, tugging at the itchy beard that felt like a woolly parasite. He stared at his reflection in the gingerbread house mirror. "Architectural plans never prepared me for this," he muttered. "Santa, you're on?" An elf squeaked, shoving him toward the throne. A plush chair beside a fake fireplace crackling on a digital screen. Roger pasted on his best jolly smile and boomed, "Ho ho ho!" The sound was more ho ho help than merry, but the kids didn't care. They swarmed him like bees to honey. The first boy climbed onto his lap, eyes wide. "Santa, I want a dog." Roger blinked. "A dog, huh? Well, Santa's sleigh isn't pet-friendly. Dogs might fall out." He winked. "But maybe your parents can help." The boy nodded solemnly, then sprinted to his parents, shouting, "Santa said you'll get me a dog." Roger winced. The parents gave him a grateful smile and a thumbs up. Crisis averted, sort of. The line moved. Roger endured requests for dolls, bikes, and gaming consoles, his cheeks aching from forced cheer. Then he saw her, a little girl in a clean but worn dress, standing with quiet determination. She kept glancing over her shoulder, as if making sure someone didn't vanish. Something about her seriousness tugged at Roger's heart. When her turn came, the elves lifted her onto his lap. Roger smiled through the beard. "Well, hello there. What's your name?" "Maggie," she said softly. "I'm 5. 5? That's a big age." Roger leaned in conspiratorially. "Have you been a good girl?" She hesitated, then whispered, "I know you're not the real Santa." Roger froze. Well, this is new. He scrambled for a response, but Maggie beat him to it. "The real Santa's too busy making toys," she explained matter-of-factly. "That's why he sends his secret agents." Roger grinned. "Secret agents, huh?" She nodded gravely. "But you can't tell anyone. Santa won't be happy." Roger whispered back, Your secret's safe with me. Her eyes shone with relief. Then came the kicker. I want a daddy. Mommy says Santa can't bring me one. But Santa can do anything. He's magic. Roger's heart cracked. He glanced up and saw her mother. Jennifer Bradley stood just beyond the photo backdrop, watching with tired eyes that mirrored Maggie's hope. She was beautiful, but worn thin, like a painting faded by too much sun. Roger swallowed hard. That's a big request, he said gently. Santa might need more information to make sure he gets the right daddy. Maggie nodded solemnly, as if this were the most logical thing in the world. Okay. What else do you want? Just in case Santa can't convince Cupid to help. Maggie giggled. If I can't have a daddy, a doll will be fine. Roger's throat tightened. Most kids rattled off lists a mile long. This child wanted a dad, not a doll. He made up his mind. My shift ends in an hour. See if your mom can wait so I can get the right info for Santa. Maggie beamed. Okay. She scrambled down and ran to Jennifer, who looked startled but didn't leave. Roger watched them go, something stirring deep inside. A flicker of magic he thought he'd lost. Chapter 3. Dinner with a secret agent. An hour later, Roger shed the red suit and itchy beard, emerging from the gingerbread house as himself. Maggie spotted him instantly and squealed, Agent number 6. Roger knelt theatrically. You cracked the code. Now you're on Santa's special squad. Maggie's eyes went wide. Really? Really? But we don't talk about Santa's squad. He tapped his nose. Top secret. She nodded solemnly, crossing her heart. Jennifer laughed softly, the first real laugh Roger had heard from her. It was like sunlight breaking through clouds. Roger turned to Jennifer. I need intel for Santa. Dinner? My treat. Jennifer hesitated. Dinner? That's not necessary. Maggie clasped her hands. Please, Mommy? Santa needs info. Jennifer sighed, defeated by 5-year-old logic. Fine. Dinner. The restaurant was cozy, strung with twinkling lights. Maggie chattered about reindeer and elf squads while Roger and Jennifer exchanged cautious smiles. So, Jennifer said, stirring her coffee, how does an architect end up playing Santa? Roger grinned. Long story. Short version? Harold, my boss, got promoted to great-grandpa. I got promoted to jolly old man. Jennifer laughed again, softer this time. Sounds like you didn't have a choice. Not really. Roger leaned back. But if the worst thing I do this week is make some kids happy, I'll survive. Her eyes softened. That's kind. Roger shrugged. Just rolling with the punches. He learned Jennifer worked 2 jobs, raising Maggie alone. She learned Roger was divorced, no kids, and maybe, just maybe, still believed in magic. Roger joked. If Santa can't deliver a dad, maybe Cupid owes him a favor. Jennifer blushed, deflecting with humor. Cupid's been on vacation for years. When dinner ended, Roger walked them to their car. Maggie hugged him fiercely. Don't forget my wish. Roger watched them drive away, heart unexpectedly full. For the first time in years, he wondered if magic was real. Chapter 4. The second encounter. Roger didn't expect to see Jennifer again so soon. After their dinner, he'd replayed her laugh in his head more times than he cared to admit. It wasn't loud or showy, just soft, like a secret shared. He told himself it was nothing. A nice evening. A good deed. End of story. Except Maggie had other plans. Saturday afternoon, Roger was back in the red suit, enduring another round of sticky candy canes and chaotic cheer. He was halfway through convincing a skeptical 8-year-old that Santa's sleigh ran on eco-friendly magic dust when he heard a familiar voice. Agent number 6. Maggie barreled through the line, her pigtails bouncing like springs. Behind her, Jennifer followed, looking apologetic and, Roger noticed, less tired than before. Roger grinned beneath the beard. Maggie, you're supposed to keep a low profile. Secret agents don't blow their cover. Maggie gasped. Oh no, I forgot. She slapped her forehead dramatically, then whispered, I'll be sneaky now. Jennifer shook her head, smiling. Sorry. She begged to come back. Roger waved it off. I'm glad she did. He lowered his voice. Santa needs updates. Jennifer raised an eyebrow. Updates. Roger leaned closer, stage whispering to Maggie. Did you think about what kind of dad you want? Santa can't send the wrong guy. Maggie nodded solemnly. He has to be nice and funny, and he has to like Mommy. Roger chuckled. That's a solid list. Jennifer's cheeks flushed. Maggie. Roger held up his hands. Hey, I just take notes for the big guy. The line moved, and Roger promised to talk after his shift. When he finally emerged from the gingerbread house, Maggie was waiting by the fountain, bouncing on her toes. Jennifer stood beside her, arms crossed, but her eyes softened when Roger approached. Dinner again? Roger asked lightly. Jennifer hesitated. You don't have to. I want to, Roger said simply. Unless you're busy. She wasn't. And that was how Roger found himself sharing pizza with them in a booth that felt far too cozy for 3 people and a growing sense of something he couldn't name. Chapter 5. Elves, Antlers, and Awkward Sparks. By the 3rd day of Santa duty, Roger had mastered the art of the jolly chuckle and the strategic candy cane bribe. What he hadn't mastered was the way his pulse jumped whenever Jennifer walked into the Civic Center. She'd started volunteering, just to help Maggie feel involved, she claimed, but Roger suspected there was more to it. Not that he minded. Watching Jennifer laugh as she wrangled a herd of sugar-high elves was better than any Christmas movie. "Santa!" one of the teenage elves shrieked, shoving a pair of antlers at him. "You need these for the photo booth." Roger stared at the antlers. "I'm Santa, not a reindeer." "Santa with antlers is trending," the elf insisted. Roger sighed and perched the antlers on his head. Jennifer snorted from across the room, and Roger shot her a look. "Don't you dare laugh." "Too late," she said, grinning. The day spiraled into chaos. Roger posing for selfies, Jennifer rescuing a toddler from the reindeer pen, Maggie proudly announcing to anyone who'd listen that Santa was her secret agent friend. By closing time, Roger was exhausted, antlers askew, beard half detached. Jennifer approached, holding 2 steaming cups of cocoa. "You look festive," Roger groaned. "I look like Santa after a bar fight." She laughed, handing him a cup. Their fingers brushed, and Roger felt a spark, small, but undeniable. Jennifer felt it too. He saw it in the way her smile faltered for a heartbeat before returning. "Thanks," he said softly. "For the cocoa or the chaos?" she teased. "Both," he replied, and for a moment, the noise around them faded, leaving only the warmth of her gaze and the quiet possibility of something more. Chapter 6. Snowed in. The snowstorm hit on Tuesday night, turning the town into a glittering white maze. Roger was closing up the Civic Center when Jennifer appeared, cheeks pink from the cold, Maggie bundled in a puffy coat. "Car won't start," Jennifer said, breathless. "And the roads are a mess." Roger glanced outside. Snowflakes swirled like confetti, piling fast. "You can't stay out in this. Come on. I'll drive you." His truck was old but reliable, rumbling through the snow like a stubborn beast. They made it halfway before the storm turned vicious, wind howling, visibility dropping to 0. Roger cursed under his breath. "We're not making it home." Jennifer's hands tightened on the dashboard. "What do we do?" "There's a cabin near here," Roger said. "Company property. We use it for site inspections. It's got heat." The cabin was small but warm, with a crackling fireplace and a couch that had seen better days. Roger stoked the fire while Jennifer settled Maggie with a blanket and a mug of cocoa from the emergency stash. When Maggie finally drifted to sleep, Roger and Jennifer sat by the fire, the silence thick with unspoken things. "This is cozy," Jennifer said, her voice soft. Roger smiled. "Better than freezing in a truck." She laughed, then sobered. "Thank you. For tonight. For everything." Roger met her gaze. "You don't have to thank me." "I do," she whispered. "You've been kind. More than kind." Roger hesitated, then reached for her hand. Her fingers curled around his, warm and trembling. The firelight danced across her face, painting her in gold. "Jennifer," he said quietly, "I don't know what this is yet, but I'd like to find out." Her breath hitched. "Me too." Outside, the storm raged. Inside, something new began. Fragile, hopeful, and maybe, just maybe, magical. Chapter 7. The morning after, Roger woke to the soft crackle of the fire and the faint scent of cocoa. For a moment, he forgot where he was, until he saw Maggie curled up on the couch, clutching a stuffed reindeer, and Jennifer sitting cross-legged on the rug, her hair a tousled halo. "Morning," she said, voice husky from sleep. Roger smiled. "Morning. Coffee?" She laughed. "If you have some, you might be my hero." He rummaged through the emergency supplies and produced 2 packets of instant coffee. "Not exactly gourmet, but it's hot." Jennifer accepted the steaming mug, their fingers brushing. The spark was still there, stronger now, humming like a live wire. "Thanks for last night," she said softly. "You didn't have to take care of us." Roger shrugged. "I wanted to." Her eyes held his for a beat too long, and Roger felt something shift, quiet but undeniable. He wanted more mornings like this, more laughter, more warmth. When the storm finally cleared, Roger drove them home, but the silence in the truck wasn't awkward. It was full of possibilities neither of them dared name. Chapter 8. Holiday mayhem and mistletoe. The week before Christmas was chaos wrapped in tinsel. The Civic Center buzzed with last-minute shoppers, sugar-fueled kids, and volunteers juggling crafts and cocoa spills. Roger had become a local celebrity, Santa with the dimples. According to the high school elves, Jennifer was everywhere, organizing toy drives, calming tantrums, laughing in a way that made Roger's chest ache. Maggie stuck to Roger like glue, proudly announcing to anyone who'd listen that Santa was her secret agent friend. One afternoon, Roger was cornered near the photo booth by an elf wielding mistletoe like a weapon. "Tradition," she chirped, dangling it above his head. Roger rolled his eyes. "I'm Santa. Santa doesn't kiss under mistletoe." "Santa's off duty," Jennifer teased, appearing behind him. Her smile was playful, but her eyes held a challenge. Roger's pulse jumped. "Is that so?" "Maybe," she said, stepping closer. The mistletoe swayed between them, absurd and perfect. For a heartbeat, the world narrowed to her lips, her laugh, the warmth in her gaze. Roger wanted to close the distance. God, he wanted to, but Maggie's voice shattered the moment. Mommy! Santa! Look! Reindeer poop! Jennifer burst out laughing, and Roger groaned. The mistletoe dangled forgotten as they chased Maggie toward the pen, hearts pounding for reasons that had nothing to do with reindeer. Chapter 9. Confessions and Christmas Lights. 2 nights before Christmas, Roger found himself stringing lights at the Civic Center long after closing. Jennifer stayed to help, her fingers deftly untangling knots while Maggie snoozed in a corner, worn out from elf duty. You didn't have to stay, Roger said, handing her a strand. I wanted to, she replied, echoing his words from the cabin. Her smile was soft, almost shy. Besides, you'd be lost without me. He chuckled. True. They worked in companionable silence until Jennifer spoke again, voice low. Maggie's happy. Happier than I've seen her in a long time. Roger swallowed hard. She's an amazing kid. She is. Jennifer hesitated, then met his gaze. And you've been incredible. For her. For me. Roger's heart thudded. Jennifer. I don't know what this is, she whispered. But I don't want it to end. Roger stepped closer, the glow of Christmas lights painting her in gold. Neither do I. For a moment, they stood there, the air thick with everything unsaid. Then Roger reached out, brushing a strand of hair from her face. Her breath hitched, and he knew that if he kissed her now it wouldn't feel like a mistake. So he did. It was soft at first, tentative, then deeper, warmer, like coming home. When they broke apart, Jennifer's eyes were luminous, and Roger felt something settle in his chest, a certainty he hadn't felt in years. Outside, snow began to fall again, silent and magical, as if the world approved. Chapter 10. Christmas Eve Chaos. The Civic Center was a snow globe of madness. Last-minute donations piled high, elves sprinted like Olympic athletes, and Roger, still in the red suit, was juggling a crying toddler and a broken candy cane dispenser. Santa, we need you for photos, an elf shrieked. Santa, the reindeer ate the garland, another wailed. Roger groaned. Santa needs a vacation. Jennifer appeared like a calm breeze in a blizzard, Maggie clinging to her hand. Need help? Roger grinned. Always. She took the toddler, soothing him with a smile that made Roger's chest ache. Watching her move through the chaos, graceful, steady, Roger felt something settle inside him. This wasn't just attraction. It was belonging. Later, when the crowd thinned and the music softened, Roger found Jennifer near the tree, adjusting ornaments. He stepped close, heart pounding. Tomorrow's Christmas, he said quietly. Big day. She smiled. Maggie's counting the minutes. Roger hesitated, then blurted. Come to my place tomorrow. Both of you. Jennifer blinked. Roger, I want you there, he said simply. I want this, us. Her eyes softened, but uncertainty flickered. Are you sure? Roger nodded. More sure than I've been about anything. She didn't answer right away, but when she finally spoke, her voice was gentle. Okay. Chapter 11. The surprise plan. Roger spent Christmas Eve like a man possessed, wrapping gifts, stringing lights, and, in a stroke of questionable genius, tying a giant red bow around his own chest. If Maggie wanted magic, he'd give her magic. He checked the clock. Jennifer and Maggie would arrive soon. His stomach churned with nerves he hadn't felt since his first college date. When the knock came, Roger opened the door to Maggie's squeal. Santa's secret agent. Roger grinned. Mission accomplished. Jennifer stepped inside, eyes widening at the twinkling lights and roaring fire. Roger, this is beautiful. Just wanted to make it special, he said, voice rough. They settled by the tree, Maggie tearing into gifts with delighted shrieks. Roger watched her, heart full, then glanced at Jennifer. She was smiling, really smiling, and for the first time Roger imagined a future that didn't feel empty. When Maggie disappeared to her room to play with her new doll, Roger turned to Jennifer. I have one more gift. She raised a brow. For Maggie. For you. He handed her a small box. Inside was a silver bracelet, simple but elegant. Roger. Her voice trembled. He took a breath. I don't know where this goes, but I know I want you in my life. Both of you. Jennifer's eyes shimmered. You already are. Chapter 12. Christmas morning magic. The house was quiet when Maggie padded into the living room, clutching her doll. She froze at the sight of Roger sitting cross-legged by the tree, a ridiculous bow on his head and a grin on his face. Merry Christmas, Maggie, he said softly. Her eyes went wide. Santa sent you? Roger laughed. Guess he thought you deserved your wish. Maggie shrieked and launched herself at him, nearly toppling the tree. Roger caught her, laughing, his heart so full it hurt. Jennifer stood in the doorway, watching with tears in her eyes. Roger met her gaze, and in that moment, everything was clear. This wasn't just a holiday fling. It was home. It was family. Roger kissed Maggie's forehead, then looked at Jennifer. Guess magic's real after all. Jennifer smiled, stepping into his arms. Guess it is. Outside, snow fell in lazy spirals, the world wrapped in white. Inside, laughter rang out, warm and bright, a promise of new beginnings and Christmases yet to come. Epilogue. 1 year later, snow fell in soft spirals outside the window, frosting the world in white. Inside, the house glowed with twinkling lights and the scent of cinnamon. Roger Mills stood in the kitchen, wearing an apron that read Santa's favorite chef, stirring cocoa while humming along to a Christmas playlist. "Daddy!" Maggie's voice rang out like a bell as she barreled into the room, pigtails flying. She was taller now, her smile even brighter. "Mommy says the tree is crooked." Roger laughed, scooping her up. "Crooked? Or artistic?" "Crooked," Jennifer said from the doorway, her arms crossed but her eyes warm. She wore a red sweater that made Roger's heart skip, just like it had the first time he saw her laugh. "You're in charge of straightening it, Mr. Architect." Roger grinned. "On it, boss." He set Maggie down and crossed to the tree, adjusting the stand until Jennifer nodded in approval. When he straightened, she was there, close enough that he could feel the heat of her smile. "Hard to believe it's been a year," she murmured. Roger brushed a strand of hair from her face. "Best year of my life." Her eyes softened. "Mine too." From the living room, Maggie shouted, "Santa's secret agent squad. Assemble." Roger chuckled, pulling Jennifer into his arms as Maggie raced back with a pair of antlers and a glittery badge. "Still running the operation," Jennifer teased. "Some missions never end," Roger said, kissing her softly. Outside, the snow kept falling, silent and magical. Inside, laughter filled the house, a sound that promised every Christmas from now on would be brighter, warmer, and full of love. Because sometimes, magic doesn't just visit for a season. Sometimes it stays.